All right, Trent, you got anything for us?
Yeah, we're talking about the boys.
Yeah,
Talking
coming
about
up.
the boys. 50% said Loudoun Valley will run the table and win. 27% Great Oak, Doug Souls. 13% said Carmel, and 7% Wayzata. What do you guys think?
And we're talking about the boys Flow 50 team rankings. We had Loudoun Valley #1 on our list. They did not qualify for NXN last year, but they have probably the most stacked roster entering this year, including the addition of Sam Affolter from Carlisle, transferred over to Loudoun Valley. So, yeah, I mean, you can't argue simply their roster. It's kind of stacked all the way around.
Yeah, Loudoun Valley's definitely a team to beat. Wayzata out of Minnesota. Wayzata, by the way, for the record. I had to be corrected when we were out there for a GRIAC. Tried to work out with them. Wayzata, correct way to pronounce that one. I'm going with a sleeper pick. You know, our top 5, Loudoun Valley, Great Oak, Carmel, Wayzata, Downers Grove North, Springville out of Utah. Ooh. Sleeper pick. They're going to be up in this top 5 pretty soon. Top 3, and they're going to be contenders at NXN. They made it to NXN for the first time last year, and I'm totally giving myself props because I was calling this way earlier in the season last year before anyone else was catching on to Springville. This was a huge team. They're returning Grant Gardner, their top athlete. They just had their season opener, and it was a monster race. They beat Timpanogos. Their depth is there. They have all the athletes in place. They're returning guys. They're veterans. And you look at some teams like that who make it to NXN at the first time, it's an experience. You're there because you're made to NXN. You're not necessarily contenders. You're having a good time. There's a lot of cool things going on. The race day isn't always as focused or business-like as it may have been. This is a team that the American Fork isn't there what it used to be. Davis isn't as strong as they used to be. Springville, in my opinion, is going to be the team to beat out of Utah this year. They're going to be going to NXN, and they are podium contenders. It'll be really interesting to see how they develop, but they have the depth. They have the elite athletes at the front. They're going to be up there, and I'm watching for Springville to really shake things up this season.
Weren't you just listening to Doug Souls? He said Great Oak. They're ranked #2 for a reason. I think Great Oak's 3 seniors, 2 juniors, 2 sophomores on that team coming back. They were CIF champions last year. They have a solid track record, and Loudoun Valley doesn't. So Loudoun Valley might be the most talented team on the board, but the track record isn't there yet, even though they're coached by Joan Hunter, mother of Drew Hunter.
Yes.
Adidas athlete, yeah. So they've churned out some athletes at Loudoun Valley, but I don't think they're proven. So #1 could fall pretty quickly if they don't.
That's a very good point. You know, you can be the best team on paper, but we haven't seen them go the distance yet. And while the Southeast region isn't historically the strongest region out there, you know, St. Xavier made it to NXN last year. They ran well. They bring a lot of guys back. They have a lot of depth on their team. So I think it's not necessarily a given that Loudoun Valley is going to make it. We have to see how they develop throughout the year. They have that #1 spot. The pressure's on with that transfer of Affolter, and there's a lot of expectations there. I think everyone's really excited to see what this team could be. It's a matter of seeing those races come through, seeing them compete against those bigger teams. But Loudoun Valley, they're #1, and it's time for them to decide what to do with it.
Yeah, and one thing Doug mentioned that there's only been 2 from NXN on the boys' side. There's only been 1 team that's won more than 1 title, 2 titles, and a lot of that stems from just the overall talent level that comes to NXN on the boys' side. From 2016 to 2011, the winners of these races are extremely depth-ridden. Basically, they have from 1 to 5. They have incredible depth, and a lot of times that spread from 1 to 5 is like 26 seconds, anywhere from like 26 seconds to 45 seconds. So you got to be really tight in that pack to win NXN, and that's no slouch. I mean, it's hard to get to that point for a team.
And I think that's part of why there's a little more feeling behind that Loudoun Valley could go the distance. You know, everyone knows we don't really have to go too much into American Fork what they were last year, but they didn't have that depth. Their top 3 are potentially the best top 3 we ever saw or maybe will see in high school cross country. And now Loudoun Valley has Affolter, but they have the depth in the 2 through 5. And they have some good guys back there at 6 through 7 who could be displacing other guys as well. So I don't think it's a very different situation from last year. It's going to be very exciting because there weren't a whole lot of teams last year that were given a chance to win a national title on the boys' side. This year, I think on any given week, we could see teams flip-flopping and moving. It's going to be a really exciting season across the board because I think any of these teams in that top 10, even back to the top 15 range, could potentially be up into the top 5. It's going to be a very fluid cross-country season. That makes it really exciting for all the spectators and fans because anything could happen here. Anyone could make the podium, and potentially anyone could be moving up. Some shockers out here to win a national title.